Om 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 Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidwaram Sadgurum Brahma Vidwaram. Om Shri Chinmaya Sadgurave Namaha. Om Hari Om. So today we are in the 25th day of this Vedanta Shravana Sadhana Yagna of Vivekachoodamani. And after negating the five koshas, the Annamaya kosha, the Pranamaya kosha, the Manomaya kosha, the Vijnanamaya kosha, and Anandamaya kosha. Negating means not I. This is not me. This is not I. Very scientifically proving the reason why it is not I, meaning it should not be modified, it should not be a changing thing, it should not be an object of observation, and it should not have awareness, it should be inert. So when these three conditions apply for anything, that object is not I. So with all those three conditions, they have been negated. Now what is the Atman? It is being explained in this from these verses 2-1-1. Yo ayam atma swayam jyotihi panchakosha vilakshana avasthatraya sakshi san nirvikaro niranjana sadanandassa vigneya swatmatvena vipaschita. Yo ayam atma swayam jyotihi. This atma is shining by itself. Like how the light that illumines this room need not have another light to illuminate. The lamp that is illumining and giving shade, light, you don't need to see that lamp with another lamp. It is not required. In the same way, the Atma is Swayam Jyotihi. It illumines the body, it illumines the breath, it illumines the minds likes and dislikes, the sense of I and mine. It illumines the intellect, its sense of I am doing this work. It illumines the bliss body. I am the enjoyer. I don't know who I am. It illumines those thoughts. Swayam Jyotihi, but nothing needs to illumine that consciousness. It is Swayam Jyoti. It shines by itself. And Panchakosha Vilakshanaha. It is different from the five koshas. It is different from the five sheets. SHEATH. The Annamaya kosha, the Pranamaya kosha, the Manomaya kosha, the Vijnanamaya kosha, and the Anandamaya kosha. And then it is also the Avastha Traya Sakshi. It is a witness of all the three states of existence: the waking state, the dream state, and the deep sleep state. Sanna Nirvikaraha Niranjanaha. Does it change? It does not change at all. When it watches the waking state also, it is the same, the observer. When it watches the dream state also, it is the observer. When it watches the deep sleep state also, it is the observer. Beyond these three states also, it remains the same. Niranjanaha. There is no blemish in that consciousness. Just like When the sun shines on a garbage dump, the sun shines on a very clean river, the sun does not become pure because of the river, or the sun does not become dirty because of the garbage dump. In the same way, this consciousness has got no blemish on it. It may shine on any kind of thought: positive thought, negative thought, good thought, bad thought, evil thought, funny thought, irritating thought. Those qualities will not pass on to consciousness. Niranjanaha, Sada Anandaha. What is the nature of this consciousness? Because it is so powerful, it is not affected by anything. It is available to throw its light on everything. It is affected by nothing. So it is always joyful. The experience of joy happens when I identify with that consciousness. Only then I experience joy. Sada Anandaha Savigneyaha. That should be known. Swatmatvena, by our own self. Atmatvena Vipaschita, by whom? That learned, wise man should realize that Atman is his own self. Meaning, it is already our own self only. We have not identified it. We have not owned it up. We just have to own it. Yes, I am consciousness. That is what owning it is all about. And when I say I am consciousness, my behavior should also translate as if I am consciousness. If I don't, if I identify with all the unnecessary qualities, unwanted qualities in the body, mind, and intellect, then my behavior will not be in tune with that identification of I am consciousness. What is the Atman? The disciple asks. See, if the question comes, if the Annamaya Kosha, Pranamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha, Vijnanamaya Kosha, Anandamaya Kosha, these are all what we can see and experience. And all these have been removed. So the next understanding will be, then there is nothing at all to know. If I don't see anything objectively, then that thing does not exist at all in our mind. So the disciple is asking such a type of a question. Shishya uvacha mithyattvena nishiddheshu kosheshveteshu panchasu sarva bhavam vina kinchit pashyam yatra hi pashyam na pashyam yatra he guru vigneyam kimu vastvasti swatmanatma vipaschita. Shishya uvacha, the Shishya is asking, Mityatvena nishiddheshu. You have negated everything, saying they are mithya. Mithya means temporary existence. They are not having any permanent existence. What? The body, the breath, the mind, the intellect, and this I don't know thought. All that has been negated as impermanent. Kosheshu eteshu panchasu. These five koshas. The Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya koshas. Then sarva abhavam vina kinchita na pashyami atra he guru. That everything is abhavam. Everything is gone now. You have negated. So nothing remains to be seen. I don't perceive anything else, O Guru, other than these five which I am able to see. Vigneyam kimu vastu asti. Is there something else that I need to know? Swatmanam atma vipaschita. Is there something else? Kimu vastu asti. By what means can the vipaschit, that wise man, know about the self, about the Atman? There is nothing else to know now, since all the five things that we all know about has been negated. By what means can the wise man know about the self, the Atman? So the teacher is saying, verses 213 to 225, it is all about the Atman from now onwards. Shri Guru Ruvacha Satyamutvam Tvaya Vidvan Nipunosi Vicharane Ahamadi Vikaraste Tadabhaveyam apyanu sarve yenanubhuyante yasvayam nanubhuyate tamatmanam veditaram vidhi buddhyasu sukshmaya. So the teacher, if the student is asking such a difficult question, that is asking actually a brilliant question, because the teacher says, take this out, take this out, this is not Atman, this is not Atman, this is not Atman, this is not Atman, this is not Atman. The five things that are visible are taken away. And the student is asking the question, okay, now how does the wise person understand what is the Atman? And the teacher is not scolding him for that. He says, Satya Muktam Tvaya. Indeed, what you say is true. Tvaya. And he calls the student a Vidwan, a very learned person, wise person. And he says, Vicharane Nipunosi. You are indeed very good in the process of right thinking, analysis, right thinking, contemplating about something, asking questions, clarifying. You're very good in that. He praises the student. Aham adi vikaraha te tad abhave ayam api anu. Aham adi, meaning including the ego, the I, everything else, the pranamaya, the annamaya, the manomaya, the vijnanamaya, and anandamaya, all of them go through modifications. Vikaraha te tad abhave ayam api anu. Even without all of them, all the five koshas, sarve yena anubhuyante. All the five koshas are experienced because of the I, the Atman, the self. But yes, swayam na anubhuyate. Nobody can see that Atman, which is the seer of everything else. Tam Atmanam Veditaram. Know that to be the Atman. These verses are not for real explanation. They are for understanding and contemplation in the mind. That Atman, that light of consciousness, which sheds its light on the thought of the body, the thought of the breath and energy, the thought of the mind, the thought of the intellect, and the thought of ignorance. All these five thoughts that consciousness is illumining in our own being, in our own self, for our own understanding. But nothing illumines that consciousness. It illumines by itself. Just like the sun shines its light on everything, but nothing needs to illumine the sun. It is illumined by itself. And how do we know this? Buddhya susukshmaya tam atmanam veditaram. That atmanam veditaram vidhi. That atma, or that I, which illumines everything, should be known. How can it be known? Susukshmaya buddhya. With a very, very, very subtle intellect. A very subtle intellect means an intellect that is not diversified or distracted by any wants and desires in the world outside. And like it is like Albert Einstein or Michael Faraday or Sir Isaac Newton. They made their discoveries because of that subtle intellect. Subtle intellect means only one point of concentration. Everything else in the laboratory, everything else in their surroundings are of no consequence to them except that object that they are working in. That is called that subtle intellect, or what is it called? Buddhi. Susukshmaya. Sushtu. More subtle than what all those scientists who are pursuing some material object as part of their investigation. More subtle needs to be the investigation by the Vidwan who is trying to realize the self. It is only by a very subtle intellect that the person is capable of pursuing that knowledge of the self, the truth. Because the self is very subtle. When you search something, you need to take on the qualities of the object we are searching. Otherwise, we will not be able to locate it. Tatsakshikam bhavet tadyat yadyad yenanubhuyate kasyapyananubhutarte kasya kasyapyan anubhutarte sakshitvam nopayujyate tat sakshikam bhavet tad tat yat na anubhuyate. That which is witnessed by something, if for example, if I am witnessing this clock has me for a witness. That's what the understanding is. Tat sakshikam bhavet. Tat tat, whatever is witnessing something, that object which is witness has the sakshi for its witness. Yat yat na anubhuyate. That object does not witness the one who is witnessing it. The witness is witnessing an object. The object that is being witnessed is not actually witnessing the witness. That is why in the court, whenever there is a case which involves a witness, like a murder case or something, they call the eyewitness account, because the witness is a person. The person who is engaged in the action will be only engaged in the action. He will not really witness the person witnessing. The witness is the one that witnesses the action, and the one who is performing an action does not witness the witness. Na anubhuyate. Kasya api anubhutarthe sakshitvam nopayujyate. When there is no entity to witness a thing, we cannot say that it has been witnessed at all. So the sakshi or consciousness is witnessing these 5 koshas: the annamaya kosha, the pranamaya kosha, the manomaya kosha, the vijnanamaya kosha, the anandamaya kosha, or rather our thoughts of these koshas. We can have it that way. The sakshi or the witness is witnessing the thoughts we have about these koshas, but there is no witness for this sakshi. There is no witness. The sakshi is not seen by anything else. Asau svasakshiko bhavo yatasvenanubhuyate atah param swayam sakshat pratyagatmana chetaraha. This Atman, Sakshi, asau svasakshiko bhavaha. It is a witness of itself. The sun is a witness of itself. The sun does not need anything else to witness the sun. The Sakshi is a witness of itself. Yataha svena anubhuyate. The Sakshi can be realized only by itself. Nothing else can realize the presence of the Sakshi. Everything is being watched by the Sakshi. The Sakshi alone can realize itself. So who is trying to realize their own self? The one who is trying to look is that one who is trying to realize their own self, and only that person can realize. Nobody else can do it for him. Ataha param swayam sakshat pratyagatmana chetaraha. Atah param. Hence, that Atman itself, the Atman which is looking at all these thoughts of the 5 koshas, that Atman itself is capable of realizing itself. Nothing else from without. Jagrat swapna sushuptishu sputataram yosau samujrimbate pratyagropataya sadaham iti antaspurannai nanakara vikara bhaginaiman pashyannaham dhimukhan nityananda chidatmana spuratitam vidhi swametam hriti. This Sakshi clearly manifests itself in the waking state, the dream state, and the deep sleep states. Jagrata, Swapna, Sushuptishu, Sputataram, very clearly, Yo asau sam ujrumbate. This Sakshi is there. It is very much present in the waking state. Who is seeing everything on the screen? In this light, the Sakshi is seeing. Nothing else is capable of seeing. Seeing means understanding what is being reflected in that consciousness. Pratyagrupataya sada aham aham iti antaspuran naikadha. So this Sakshi, Pratyagrupataya, within me, inward, the consciousness within is always, what is it doing? Sada aham aham iti antaha spuran naikadha. Na ekadha. It is perceived inwardly in various forms by the mind as a series of unknown impressions of the ego. This Sakshi, there are many impressions in the ego. The thought impressions are there in the ahamkara or the ego. And this Sakshi is identifying with everything. Aham. One thought comes, aham. The next thought comes, aham, 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 aham. It just keeps like how that person is stamping in the post office, just mindlessly going on and on, taking that stamp, whatever has to be done. When we hear that noise, it will be very interesting. Dum, dum, dum. Remove stamp. Like that, thought goes aham, 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 as if there is no sound inside, but aham aham iti antaspuran naikada. Nanakara vikara bhagina iman. These thoughts are nanakara vikara, different types, different colors of thoughts, different shades, different textures, different complexions, different attitudes. So many things are passing by in the mind. Bhagina iman, pasyan aham dhi mukhana. This aham dhi, the I thought, is experiencing all this. Nityananda chidatmana spuratitam vidhi swametam hridi. Nitya Ananda Chit Atmana. Everything is being experienced by that eternal, blissful, conscious self, Spuratitam. Whatever the thoughts that are expressing, the thoughts that are very present, which is being enlightened by this consciousness, Vidhi Swametam Hridi. Know that you are that consciousness, the self, which is highlighting all the thoughts that pass by. घटोदके बिम्बितमर्कबिम्बम् आलोक्य मूढो रविमेव मन्यते तथा चिदाभास तथा चिदाभास भासम् उपाधि संस्थम् भ्रान्त्याहमित्येव जटोभिमन्यते. The person who does not have intelligence is seeing the reflection of the sun in the water in a jar and considers that like it is not a person who is not intelligent. Basically, even when we know very clearly, suppose we see the reflection on the moon of the moon on the lake, we will not clearly say how beautiful is the moon's reflection on the lake. We will say, wow, the moon looks so beautiful. We look at the lake, clear lake, and we will see the reflection of the moon, and we will say into the water how beautiful the moon looks. The fool is one person. Gatodake bimbitam arkabimbam alokya mudaha ravimeva manyate. The idiotic person will look at the sun, which is reflected in a pot of water, and think that it is the sun and try to grasp it. Tatha chidabhasam upadhi samstha. In the same way, this light of consciousness is shining through the upadhis, the body, the breath, the mind, the intellect, and in the deep sleep. Everybody thinks that is only consciousness, and that is why we say I am feeling, I am short, I am tall, I am hungry, I am thirsty, this is mine, this is not mine, I do this work, I want these results, and I am enjoying this, I am suffering this, all this we say. तथा चिदाभासम उपाधि संस्थम भ्रांत्याहम इत्येव जडो जडः अभि भ्रांत्या अहम इति एव जडः अभिमन्यते. So we think of all these koshas as I, which are these koshas are all jada. They are all inert and they don't have any consciousness. Consciousness is, by its very name, it is not inert, it is conscious, it is aware, there is life. These koshas have no life and no consciousness. But still, because of delusion, we think these five koshas are I. Ghatam jalam tadgatakar, Ghatam jalam tadgatamarka bimbam, Vihaya sarvam vinirikshaterkaha, Tatastayetat tritayavabhasakaha, Swayam prakasho vidushayatha tatha. Ghatam jalam tadgatam arkabimbam. This ghatam, this pot, the jalam, the water, and the reflection of the sun in that water, vihaya sarvam vinir ikshate arkaha. If you leave all these three, the pot, the water, and the reflection of the sun, remove all that, what will we do? We'll look directly at the sun, arkaha. Tatastha etat tritaya avabhasakaha. These three are tatastha. These three are known to us. They are showing the sun. Tatastha etat tritaya avabhasakaha. Swayam prakashaha vidusha yatha tatha. The wise person realizes this reality which illumines these three and recognizes as independent of them all. There is, I look at this body seems alive. I look at the energy seems to be very alive and dynamic and making me do a lot of work, shaking my head, wiggling my fingers, moving my hands, moving my legs, walking, talking, everything I'm doing because of the energy. That energy is being supported or witnessed by consciousness. And then the mind, it keeps acting. It says, I like this, I don't like this, I want this, I don't want this. It has many sankalpas inside it. It makes many decisions inside the mind. The intellect is the one that is engaging in the action, working as the karta, the doer of many things. And the bliss is what is experiencing the happy thoughts that are there within. And when the wise person sees these, he is able to recognize consciousness, just like how we look into the pot, the water, and the reflection of the sun, and we are able to recognize the sun. In the same way, the wise man looks at the body, the prana, the mind, the intellect, and the Anandamaya Kosha, and experience the qualities of these sheets and understands that the consciousness is illumining all of them. Degam dhiyam chit pratibimbamevam visrujya buddhau nihitam guhayam drashtaram atmanam akhanda bodham sarva prakasham sadasadvilakshanam. In the same way, leaving aside the body, the intellect, and the reflection of the chit, consciousness in the intellect, and being in the cave of that intellect means settling down in that feeling of the heart where there is love is experienced, being there, remaining a witness of that, the self, which is absolute knowledge. Sarva Prakasham, Sat Asat Vilakshanam. It is different from Sat means whatever is manifest, Asat means whatever is unmanifest. Sad Asat Vilakshanam. It is different from the two. Nityam Vibhum Sarvagatam Susukshmam Antarbahishshunyam Ananyamatmanaha Vijnaya Samyam Nijarupametat Puman Vipapma Virajo Vimrutyuhu. The person becomes viraja. He becomes a very sattvic, quiet and calm person. Vimrutyuhu. He becomes free of death, meaning he realizes that he is that immortal consciousness that is never born and that never dies. How? Nityam vibhum sarvagatam susukshmam antarbahishshunyam ananyam atmanaha. He realizes that I and that self, which is eternal, which is present everywhere, sarvagatam, it can reach in any place. Susukshmam, it is very subtle, extremely subtle. Antarbahishshunyam, it cannot be experienced within or without. It is not perceptible by our sense organs. Ananyam, it is not different from itself. There is nothing like it. Atma alone is Atmanaha, I. Vijnaya Samyak, knowing this very clearly, Nija Rupam Etat, knowing my own true self as that Atman consciousness very clearly, Puman Vipapma, that individual is freed from all his impurities of mind, which are called sins, which make the mind get disturbed into various diversions and distractions and make the mind restless. Vipapma, Vigata Papma. He does not have any sin in him, and because of that, he experiences that very calm state of mind, Virajaha, and he is also free from this thought of death. He becomes that immortality that he always was. Everybody is immortal, but when we don't know we are immortal, we experience mortality. So the way out of this is to know that I am immortal. Vishoka Ananda Ghano Vipaschit Swayam Kutaschinna Bibheti Kaschit Nanyosti Pantha Bhavabaldha Mukte Vina Swatatva Vagamam Mumukshoho. Very beautiful. Vishokaha. What is the result of knowing this Atman? What is the result, or what is the use? What do I become when I know this Atman? I become Vishokaha. I become free of Shoka. Ananda Ghanaha. I experience myself as being filled with bliss all the time. There is no time, no place, no situation where I am not experiencing bliss. Ananda Ghanaha Vipaschit, that wise person. Swayam Kutaschinna Bibheti Kaschit. He does not by himself, he is not afraid of anybody at any point of time. Na anyaha asti pantha. There is, if you think that there is any other way to be liberated, I mean, is there any shortcut for liberation? Na anyaha asti pantha. For what? Bhava bandha vimuktehe. For being free of this bhava, or being free of this ocean of existence, is there any other way? Na anyaha asti pantha bhava bandha muktehe vina swatatva avagamam mumukshoho. Without understanding my own essence. Swatattva means that tattva or the essence that I am that consciousness. Without understanding that, for the mumukshu, for the seeker of liberation, there is no other way to be liberated. Liberation means I am by myself as consciousness, but I am not aware of that. I am thinking I am the body. I am thinking I am the breath. I am thinking I am the mind. I am thinking I am the intellect. I am thinking I am that state of blissful sleep. I am not all this. I am consciousness. That is called moksha. Not resting on all this for my existence, but standing on my own feet, meaning standing as consciousness and not as body. Vina swatattva avagamam. Unless I understand this consciousness is I, unless I understand that, there is no other way for liberation for the mumukshu, the one who seeks after liberation. Verse 223. ब्रह्माभिन्नत्व विज्ञानं ब्रह्माभिन्नत्व विज्ञानं भवमोक्षस्य कारणं येनाद्वितीयमानन्दं ब्रह्म सम्पद्यते बुधैः. ब्रह्म अभिन्नत्व विज्ञानं. Jnanam is knowledge. I know that I am the Brahman, Aham Brahmasmi. Tattvamasi. We all have learned that, heard that, so we know. That is called Jnanam. But I keep saying, I am Brahman, I am Brahman, I am Brahman. Nothing can shake me in this world. One lizard goes past, I get scared. Which means I have heard that I am Brahman, but it is not reflecting in my thoughts, words, and actions. So, reflecting in thoughts, words, and action, that knowledge has not got digested. And that knowledge, the digested knowledge is not expressing. I am only having a heard knowledge. Brahma abhinnatva vijnanam. That Brahma and myself, I, are abhinna, are not two different things. This vijnanam means this application oriented knowledge. It should become that knowledge should have got digested by me. Only then wherever I go, that knowledge is working. I don't need to think about it. It is there inside me. Bhava mokshasya karanam. This vijnanam alone is the cause for bhava moksha, for me to be free of this samsara or this constant change. Yena advitiyam anandam. By this advitiya means by this non-dual consciousness, which is bliss, Brahma sampadhyate buddhaihi. The wise person attains that Brahman by knowing that Brahman. Brahmavit Brahmaiva bhavati. By knowing that Brahman, I become Brahman. Without knowing that I am that Brahman, and if it does not become a real knowledge in me, if it is not really expressing through me, means it is not a functional knowledge. It is only a theoretical knowledge that I have in my mind. If it is only a theoretical knowledge, I will not be able to be free. It has to become a real knowledge expressing through me. Brahmabhutastu samsrutyai vidwan na vartate punaha vijñatavyam matah samyak brahma bhinnatvamatmanaha. Brahmabhutastu samsrutyai. Brahmabhuta. One person knows the Brahman and becomes the Brahman. Samsrutyai vidwan na avartate punaha. Such a person, such a vidwan, a very knowledgeable person, does not come back to the cycle of birth and change. Samsrutyai. Vijñatavyam ataha. So therefore, because I will not come back to this earth where there is birth, death, and changes in between, suffering, and lots of sorrow in between, with twinkle and sparkles of joy, but mainly it is sorrow, I will not come back to this earth. Once the body is dropped, I have realized the truth, and my chapter is over. My chapter in the education of who am I is over. Vijnatavyam ataha samyak. So, because of that, I have to know properly, clearly, who am I? That I am Brahma Abhinna Tattvam Atmanaha. That I am not different from the Brahman. I have to very clearly know that. Satyam Jnanamanantam Brahma Vishuddham Param Swatah Siddham Nityanandaikalasam Pratyak Abhinnam Nirantaram Jayati. That person is victorious. We seek so many victories in life. I want to be successful in that. I want to earn a lot of money. But the greatest success in life is to realize this Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahma. Satyam means that truth, that reality. Jnanam means that knowledge, that final knowledge of who am I. Anantam means endless. This Brahman has got no limit, it is limitless. Brahma. Brahma means Brihatvat iti Brahma. That which is very, very expansive means it's not something that you can see, but it is that thought or consciousness of whatever is the biggest in this universe. Brahma. Vishuddham. It is very pure. There is no taint in that Brahman. There is no other in that Brahman. Even for a taint in a white cloth, if there is a black ink, there are two things. There is a white cloth and there is a black ink. So that is why it becomes dirty, we say. But in the Brahman, there is no other. So there is no scope for any taint or dirt. Swatah Siddham, Vishuddham, Param, it is supreme. Swatah Siddham, is it created by somebody or is it prepared and manufactured through some process? No, it is always there. It will always be there. It is there now also. It was there, it is there, and it will be there. Nobody has created it. It is there by itself. Swatah Siddham, Nitya Ananda Ekarasam. This eternal joy. It's if you say there is a quality to this Brahman, there is only one quality to it. It is very joyful. That experience of the Brahman will always give us joy. Nitya Ananda Ekarasam, Pratyak Abhinnam. It is not different from the individual Jiva, the one that is identified with this body, mind, and intellect. That Brahman is not different from this Jiva. Nirantaram Jayati. That person, without any end, he is very victorious. And so, from this, we will, from the 226th verse, we will go through it from our third week of this month, the Vedanta Shravana Sadhana Yagna. Tomorrow and the day after, on Chinmaya Surya channel, we will have Atma Bodha, which we have been continuously studying every Sunday. Since one Sunday we missed, and doing it Saturday as well as Sunday, tomorrow and the day after. Om Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu, Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu, Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu, Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu, Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayaha, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Om Asatoma Sadgamaya, Tamasorma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityorma Mritam Gamaya. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Boliye Shri Sadgurunath Maharaj ki Jai. Hare Namah Parvati Pataye. Hara Hara Mahadeva. Hari Om.